Hello again, everybody. Happy New Year. This is Harry Boxer. It's January the 1st. And this is a video for my top picks, my top 24 for 24. Let me tell you, folks, this was difficult because after a bull run like we've had, there's so many bullish looking charts. I decided to, and I had over 100 candidates. And so, as you can see, I've had to eliminate, or as you can tell, obviously there's only 24 on this list. So I've eliminated 76 stocks that look real good. So if there's something on this list that's missing that you like, it's not because I didn't like it as well, but some of the criteria I used to delete or take off the list. So just wanted to keep it in the $5 to $50 range. There was quite a few stocks in the $3-4 range, and a lot of them over 50. But then I also looked at rising unbalanced volume and underlying technicals confirming the trend, things of that nature. If it weren't strong, I eliminated them. I also looked at stocks that were extended, very much overbought, and I didn't think the timing was right now to be entering any of these. But even some like AFRM in front of you, which is extended, but in a very orderly rising channel, and it's been a tech traded swing of ours since it broke out. This one looks awfully good to me. I indicated to you, however, a long time ago that this was a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a long fifth wave. I don't know how far this goes. I can tell you that the all-time high a year and a half ago, actually in 21, that was more than 2 years ago, was 165 or so. You can see the stock went down into the under $10 range. I think the low we reached was around 880 or so. And you can see it's gone sixfold since then, consolidating in this range. And what are we looking for above 52? I'm looking for 70, 75, and ultimately longer than that. On the downside, if you're keeping track, there is short-term support at 51.5 and all the way down 40 and change. So you got to be awfully careful here, as it is vulnerable to a pullback, but momentum is still strong. Up next is CGNT, that's Cognyte, which has been a tech trader swing of mine from back here when it exploded and formed a little wedgie or coil, extended for a while, and then ran up, met my targets, pulled back down. And then this is broken back out through a triple top. If you look at the long-term channel, you can see this stock had multiple drops from the 30s all the way down to a $2 range, and now it's in a brand new uptrend. So a lot of room to run back. And I would say that longer-term targets on this one that I'd like to see over the next year or so is to get this one back to at least double from where it is now, around 12, 12.5. CLS, Celestica, which is one I haven't mentioned that much over the year, but look at this V bottom back in 2020 when everything crashed. The platform, the run up, a slow angle rising channel, and then this pullback in early 23, which then broke out here. And look how this thing's running up. I'm not going to be shocked, and I'm expecting, if the market holds together, that this extends into the mid-30s and ultimately mid-40s potentially, all depending on whether or not the channel controls the trend and the market doesn't have a big down move in 2024, obviously, which we can't help if that occurs. Your support is around 26. CleanSpark, which is I believe Bitcoin related, and had a huge run up at one point, let's call it realistically here, reaching in the low 40s. Took it all the way down to $2 range, even less than that. The ultimate low was $1.75. It had a 5-wave advance and then a pullback. So this is basically a 1, 2, and a 3. Friday was a bad day for this. It was down 211. A lot of crypto stocks like Mara got crushed, and that could be the beginning of a pullback. So if you're looking at this for an entry opportunity, look for something perhaps closer to, I think, around 9, 8.5, 9 zone. Then eventually move up into the mid-teens, even mid-20s, depending on how far they take the crypto and Bitcoin instruments. CLVT. Really like the overall look of this. You can see that this stock has been a long downtrend from the 30s over the course of 3 years. It took it down literally into the single digits around 5. Actually, low was 607. There's your base. There's your breakout, and there's your flag. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, in the case of many stocks, they're extended. But I'm looking at stocks that I think over the next year, which is why we have them the best top 20 for 24, could extend past 10, get up into the low teens and maybe much more than that. In particular, when you see where the stock was at some point. What I'm drawing now is lateral price resistance to show you where the stock might encounter some problems or might be targets. So longer term, right now my targets are about 12 and 18. CLVT. Oh, I'm sorry, I kind of out of sequence in this. That was not, those last two were not on my list. I don't know how that happened, but I apologize. Coya, the stock we've been watching since we knew they were doing a IPO, then it based out, broke out, exploded, imploded, double bottom. Here's a key breakout and a nice little wedges for me. I think long term, based on what I know about this company and based on the potential there, this could be double or triple from where it is right now. Keep an eye on this one. My targets longer term 11 and 15. Credo, coming through a triple top, broke out, and then pulled back Friday. The fundamentals are very strong. The technicals look solid, but this could be a breakout, head fake reversal. The volume was not big on the breakout. The technicals weren't as strong as they should be. I believe this is a tech trader swing, but on a longer term basis, I'm looking for mid-20s, low to mid-30s. CRNX is another beautiful base, breakout, popped, pulled back. We put a swing on it. Right now, it's a longer term play for 2024 in my mind, in my opinion. And should you get above the next target, which is in the low 40s, and we're looking for high 40s, low to mid 50s or more. DraftKings is one of my picks that we've had since it broke out here, out of the base. It extended, consolidated for 4 months, broke out again, now consolidating, pressing support. Now, obviously, if it breaks here, its next support is a trend line down around 31.2. I'd love to see that hold. If it doesn't, then maybe the whole pattern is disrupted. For now, though, you can see it's had a big move. And by the way, one of the things that I did in eliminating stocks was to take stocks out that were up 300-400%. Now, this one's gone from 10 to mid 30s, about 250%. So for me, I'm still keeping it in the list for now, but I want to see that break to the upside, obviously, with targets now in the mid 40s and low 50s. Geo, as you know, we put a swing on it when it popped out of the base. Then it popped out across the resistance level and continues to channel up. Not a good day on Friday. Many of these did not have a good day Friday. It was year end. It was options expiration. It was a lot of things. I'm not sure if this stock continues, but if it does, my targets are 12.5 and 14 and beyond. Eventually, might be high teens, especially if it takes out this congestion range from the end of 22, early 23. Do that, you're in business for much higher levels, I think. GitLab, the highest price stock on my list, and the only one over $50, I believe. I decided to keep this one in. I just like the overall base pattern. And if I eliminated it, I'd have 23 stocks, so I just added this in because I like it. Anyway, long-term pop breakaway gap, multi-month, maybe 6-7 month consolidation zone, a key breakout across the declining topside lateral price resistance there with a little breakaway gap on volume. I run up to the top of the channel, now a coil. I think basically that this is a long 1, 2, and that 3, 4, and 5 are coming. That's one of the reasons I kept it in. I believe the long-term potential on GitLab could be, anywhere between, for starters, high 70s and then high 80s. IDYA, one of my favorite bios over the last year or two, double bottomed back in 22 around the 8-9 zone, ran up into the mid-teens, high teens, and then backed off. But here's your big breakaway gap, followed by a wedge, flag, and a run up to the channel top. Then a long declining channel, a pop and run, and then another one, and now it's run up again. So in this one, the timing may not be right because it's at the top of the channel. It's had a move from the high single digits to the mid-30s. Long term, it looks like a stock that could be 40, 50, 60. I reserve judgment on this one, particularly if it doesn't hold this trend line for starters. I'd like to see 32.5, somewhere around 32, 2.5 hold on any pullback. If it doesn't, maybe more vulnerable to deeper retraces. But on a longer term basis, I think this stock has some very, very big potential. IMNM, double bottom base, breakout, slow move up, spike up, pull back, retest, stair step up, double top and pull back, tag the trend line and rip off the trend line and then a reverse on Friday. But again, these are not short-term picks. They're picks for the longer term. I believe mid-teens and low 20s eventually may be possible for IMNM. INVA, you can see that really nicely formed inverse head and shoulders or rounding bottom. But bottom line is multiple tops were broken there. The stock broke out through secondary resistance, which would probably be closer to there. And now third resistance is just above where it backed off of. On a longer term basis, I believe this is 20. And you can see we take that out, we're looking at something much higher than that. Another biotech related stock. LSPD had a monstrous run from 2020 to fall of 2021 when it went from single digits all the way up to 127. They hammered it back down from the base, broke out. And one of the reasons I like this one is not only because it broke out of the base pattern, but take a look what happened Friday. They brought it down, they reversed it with what's called a bullish engulfing bar with the tail, very bullish chart pattern. I'm looking for a move that takes us into the mid to high 20s and then low to mid 30s, if not more. A lot of room to run in that one. LTRX, if you recall, back in September, it had a breakaway gap and spiked up to resistance, and I thought this was going to fly. Instead, it pulled back and widened the base or expanded the base and elongated it. Now the breakout in a little wedge tells me this should be a tech trader current swing. I don't believe it is. I'm going to add it this week if the tech trades hold up, if the market holds up. Either way, though, I'm looking for this stock to be an $8 stock, eventually 10, and possibly as high as 13 or 14. A lot of room to run on that too. MGNX. First of all, again, a stock that was trading in the mid 30s that got hammered all the way down to low single digits, bounced, platformed, and pulled back in a falling wedge. It actually looks a little bit more like this. There's your falling wedge, and there's your breakaway gap. When that popped and pulled back, this is where I thought this was a tech trader potential swing. I don't believe I put it on, but the bottom line is, then it went through a triple top after flagging underneath it. It went to the next target zone, which was near 11. Now, beyond that, if you take a look at a weekly chart, you'll see the V bottom and platform and breakout lead me to believe that 18, 19, 20 up in that zone would be a target. So it's a double for me sometime this year. NTNX, one of my favorite companies and charts. If we traded this, I would have to say here, there, and again there. 3 successful swings on it. Currently, the stock is a tech trader swing when it broke out and flagged. From the mid 30s, it moved into the high 40s. My target is 55. I retested that zone and maybe the all-time high at 64. I still believe this is a possible takeout at some point. Palantir, which happens to be the biggest position for my most when I was esteemed hedge fund client who has a track record that's phenomenal. He told me just yesterday this is his biggest position. He believes it's a $50 stock in the next couple of years. So we'll see. For now, though, I keep putting it on the list because it's in an uptrend. It's wedging. It's at the apex. It's at the trend line or near it. So I think if it's going to go, it should go from here. Your targets are going to be mid to high 20s and low to mid 30s. Ramp. This software stock came out of a beautiful inverse head and shoulder base here and then backed off. Breakaway gap wedge and run up to near the target. There's resistance here. Right about where it is to the breakout. I would like for this to get into the mid to high 40s and eventually 58, 60, something like that. Rocket Pharmaceuticals. V bottom in 2022. A run up to resistance and multi-month consolidation. A deep pullback followed by a spike on positive news, but look where it got to, and it backed off. When that held, it moved up and broke out. So now we've broken through and out of a long-term base pattern, and I think are headed to high 30s and high 40s at the very least. Rev Group, beautiful run in 2020 that saw it go from the bear market pullback low of 350 all the way up to 22. Then a slow decline over a few months, actually almost a year. Double bottomed, popped on volume. That was my signal to watch it. Notice that triple top, quadruple top, and then a really intriguing consolidation right there. See it, folks? So there's the breakout, the retest, not only of the lateral price resistance and the breakout point, but also the trend line and the 50-day. So this is key support now at 14. That's where you stop it. But it's a bit far away from where it is now. And we are at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I always encourage everybody to be more cautious about anything that's had 5 waves particularly a stock that's gone from 9 to 19. It doesn't mean it can't consolidate and move higher, but it may have to give you a longer consolidation over the next few weeks and months. But I think eventually, we look at a stock in the 22 range, and we get through that, take a look at the possibilities. A long base pattern will have been broken through, and a test of the all-time high would be in order in the low 30s. So low 20s and low 30s on the target for Rev Group. REVG, well, I considered a lot of stocks, and this isn't the strongest technically. There's something about this stock that has me thinking it's going to be a surprise this year. And then obviously make a really dynamite car if you've ever seen it. I need to see this break out of here first. I would do nothing with this stock, but I think that on a longer term basis, we're going to see high 20s, mid 30s, and maybe more, possibly low to mid 40s or better. Snap, beautiful long-term base after a big decline. Now watch this stock. This thing went from a spike low in 2019, literally under 5, all the way up to 80. So, nearly a 15, 20-fold increase, and then this big drop. Now, over the period of the last year and a half, a beautiful base was built, and then a strong, steady run-up started. You can see it's flagging or coiling in here. I got targets to 21, 25, and beyond that, maybe even high 20s, low 30s. Nice momentum, good technicals. SRRK was a stock we did very well with. This is a biotech that got hammered from the high 60s all the way down to mid-single digits. It took a year and change to build a base. There's your breakout. So notice the volume that came into it right there. That got to resistance and back top. But when it broke out there and then retested and then bounced to form the wedges where we gave you a swing, it exploded from around the 10, 11 range. It got all the way up to 21.17 on Thursday before pulling back. I think they're coming out of the base. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking for another wave that takes me to first mid 20s and then low to mid 30s. STNE, this South American software stock did very well for us back in here. If I remember, this went from 17 to about 90, 93. Crushed it all the way down into the high single digits when the base broke out. Did a retest. And then here's the key day for me right there. When it went from 11 to 12.95, nearly 2 points on 34 million shares. Then followed through with a breakthrough, the double triple top area. Now it's in a beautiful rising angle. Now on a long-term basis, resistance is just above around 1920. That's your first target, and then 25. You can see eventually should have breakthrough there. We might see something in the mid-30s. And that concludes my top 24 for 24, folks. I wanted to give you some specific chart analysis details, and that's what this video is all about. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I shall talk to you tomorrow, actually, when we start 2024. Bye, everybody.